Welcome to the AI in Procurement podcast. I'm your host, Srijan Kumar, the CEO of Lighthouz AI. I'm excited to take you all on a journey with me as I talk to world leaders in procurement about how AI, generative AI, and agentic AI are transforming procurement, and how organizations and leaders like yourself can make the most out of this revolutionary technology. In today's episode, I'm excited to welcome Carlo Martorano. He's a global expert of procurement, having led procurement in at least three continents: South America, Australia, and Europe. He has 20 years of experience in procurement, specifically in the automotive industry, in companies like GM, Volkswagen, Stellantis, CNH, and AGCO. At AGCO, he heads global purchasing and materials as VP for South America and Asia. This podcast is hosted by Lighthouz AI. Lighthouz is a Y Combinator backed startup building AI agents for procurement excellence. I had a great time speaking with Carlo, and I hope you all enjoy this episode. Excited
Thanks,
to have you on board.
So just I'm a mechanical engineer, and I started in manufacturing, really in General Motors at the time. I spent 4 years there, and then I went to quality department in Volkswagen. And then when I moved from Volkswagen to Fiat in Italy, I was in quality as well. And then I started to work in purchasing. So really procurement, purchasing is where I really passionate on that. Well, this transfer was 2005. Was a great moment in Italy because Mr. Martorano just joined and started the turnaround of Fiat Group, and then have bought a Chrysler, and then have done a lot of good activities. And purchasing in Fiat Group now is Stellantis. It's really important role. So it's really strategic, and lots of CPOs become CEOs. That demonstrates how important is the CPO or procurement is important in this kind of industry. So I have learned a lot at that company, and as you said, I have the opportunity to work in different regions. Working head office is really important to work in a head office, because now you have a clear picture how the things is decided and why, and what's the speed, and how to communicate, how to evolve, how to influence the people, and so on. It's really important. Then works in the other regions to make sure that we can add the best value for the organization. And today I also have a team in China, so that's a big challenge in China. So I start to work also in India in the last months. After 10 years ago, I used to work in India. I visit India sometimes as well. That are the focus on nowadays for these automotive companies, because India is growing so fast. With competitive costs and so on. China is still there with a very competitive cost as well, but some political difficulties between China and the US. We have to do some different strategies. So the career is that I really am passionate to work in purchasing, to work in procurement, and I try to learn as much as possible. And every single day you can learn something. And AI is the topic. AI is the really the opportunity, where the opportunity is to help us to deliver more and more, to be more efficient, and to add more value for our organization.
Absolutely. Wow. Such a inspiring and interesting background and experiences. I'd love to dive into a few of these components that you mentioned. So over the last, let's say, 10, 12 years, how have you seen procurement and purchasing evolve or change? Or has it evolved at all in the last few years? And for example, what challenges, let's say, existed 10 years ago that are fully solved now? And what are the ones that still exist?
Yeah, I think that 10 years ago, the main challenge was really cost and competitiveness. Everybody's running for the best cost, best competitiveness. So it was really important to go to different regions in the world that we call low-cost countries, or countries that the labor or raw material, energy are cheaper than the others. So it was really important to go to these countries and develop the suppliers there. Some countries was more developed, some others was not. So it was really an important role for purchasing to develop the supplier base, develop the conditions for respective country to supply. And then, to be honest, when we have the COVID or when you have any crisis in the logistics, the game changed so fast, because cost was not so important, but really availability, resiliency. Yep. So the supply chain started to think in a different way. Oh, yeah, it's good to have a good cost in a low cost country, but to be honest, it's better to have availability. And then when you have the boom of the market, some company that has a better cost doesn't have products to sell. So, and then we start to discuss about nearshoring, friendshoring, and so on. So it was really important and strategic for procurement to have a closer suppliers. And how to balance the cost and how to balance the availability, how to balance about the capex, because in our industry, in the automotive industry, capex is very important, because any single component we need some investment in tools, some investment in process, and so we need to do this kind of equilibrium between cost, availability, investment, payback, and so on. So, and this is not easy. It's not easy because when you talk about nowadays, I'm working in agriculture company that we produce agriculture machines, tractors and combines, harvesting and so on. And one machine has 2,000 to 10,000 part numbers. Just to give you an example, a car has 1,500, 1,500, something like that, but a combine has 10,000, so it's almost 5 cars. So the challenge is how to have the parts available in the right time with the quality and the cost. With a low volume. Low volume is an additional challenge for us, that is in agriculture, different from the automotive. But I can tell you that because I have had this experience in automotive, then in trucks and buses, and then construction machine, and then agriculture machine, we can get the best from each kind of industry and put together. And you can bring also this and develop our supplier, our buyers, our people, our employees to have this mindset. Okay, cost is important, but it's more important availability, it's important quality. Quality is still important, really. So, and how to balance these in a huge complex of, like we have nowadays, 50,000 part numbers, and you have 3,000 suppliers. How you can do these big metrics, by an Excel table? It's impossible. It's impossible. So EI arrives really in the procurement. We already have in the last, that I remember, in the last 10 years, but now it's growing so fast. In availability of information. Because the buyer to do a good negotiation, a good strategy, they have to collect a lot of information and put all together. And to be honest, when you talk about global companies, even internally in the company, it's difficult to collect information for each country. It's difficult how to compare, the positive points, the negative points, the opportunities, the threats in the same company. Can you imagine if you open that to the market? It's almost impossible. So it's impossible if you don't have the EI. And this EI is really interesting because everybody's working on this. But what is important to say that I think that's a little bit the future. And then I came back, but I'm going to just to give you a little bit about my vision for the future is really, really collaboration. The company that is trying to do alone is going to take so long time to arrive. And the company that is working in a group and collaborate each other and leverage the business each other, they are going to speed up the situation. They are going to have more information at the right time and take the right decisions. And this means a lot about reduce investments, reduce the risks, and make the right partnership with the supplier base. So I can give just one example that is a big challenge for the industry that impacts directly the supply chain. The challenge is how am I going to plan to build a machine that my customer asked for, and my customer can be thousands of different applications. So it's very specific. How am I going to build that right machine the right time for the right customer if I have a huge supply chain around the world? And this is a big challenge. How you can connect the customer with the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 raw material supplier. And this could be something around 6 months to 1 year, and how to be precise on that if you don't have EI. how you can predict something that's going to happen, and how you are going to measure the possible impact in your supply chain. This is an impossible mission if you don't have artificial intelligence, if you don't have all the data from the past, if you don't put in a system, if you don't train in this system, if you don't give more possible outcomes, no, analyze all the possible results, how to optimize these results. So, and this is the challenge at the moment, because we have a lot of data, and how to build this data together to make sure that from this data we're going to have the best outcome, no? And on top of that, we know that the world, no, is not follow the history, no. Something different is going to happen. We know that, and how we're going to be prepared for that in the supply chain is key to be prepared. And how we're going to collect the information fast enough, how we're going to be prepared fast enough. When something happen, we are there. What are the different strategies? The business model is sustainable in nowadays? Maybe not. Maybe not. So we really need to challenge the status quo. We really need to challenge the business model. We really need to try to find ways to reduce complexity. And how to reduce complexity based on data. And how we use this data? We need artificial intelligence. Otherwise, it's so difficult. We could have some genius employees that we have, but it's like it's 2% of the case, 3% of the case. If in a 10,000 part number combined is missing one, we don't sell.
Yep.
Maybe for one screw that costs $1, you don't sell one machine that costs $1 million. So this is the challenge for us, and this is what's going on. And nobody has a real clear picture what's the solution. But my view, really, I saw some important companies putting efforts together, and my view is really collaboration.
Absolutely.
Collaboration, information, and experience, and even buy together. Purchasing clubs, or how to organize, like one real example. No, how a lot of companies buy the same stuff. No, indirect material. Let's talk about indirect material. A lot of companies buy services, buy products for offices, products for the plants, the manufacturing, and so on. And that kind of products are all the same. But each company nominate in a different way. How to reduce complexity and put all together and try to negotiate together. So it seems impossible, but if you put these organizations together, if you have a way how to nominate, how to describe and identify by a common part number, for example, common part number, for that, it's simple. You can have the same part number as, 10, 100 companies together. You put the volumes together and buy together, and you can have a huge leverage. You can reduce the number of people that you dedicate for that. You can have even better saving. You can focus in your core business, because indirect purchase is not your core. It's important, but it's not your core. Your core is, in my case, is the agriculture machines. So purchase needs also to try to simplify the other operation that they are responsible and focus on the core, where they can put more effort and get more results. Absolutely. So I talk about a lot of topics. I don't know which one could be more interesting that you can go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks, Carlo. This is very, very insightful. You touched upon so many important points over here. One thing I want to bring up is you mentioned, the top 2%, top 3% of your employees or procurement professionals are able to do a lot more compared to the others. And that's true across the field. But that's where AI and generative AI have real power, because it will bring the bottom 97%, 98% of employees up to the level of the top 2-3%. Right? So having AI co-pilots to improve and accelerate and help make better decision making with so much unstructured data spread across so many different components and silos, that is really a huge opportunity for AI and generative AI. So I wanted to ask you, what, if at all, have you dabbled in using AI or generative AI already in your organization, and what ROI, what impact have you seen, which other companies, like listeners to this podcast right now, can also implement so that they can have immediate ROI and benefit for their organization?
Yeah, we have one AI that's really interesting that we have created by ourselves. And that AI was focusing reduce complexity of our product. And reduce complexity means how can I reduce the number of part numbers to build a machine around the world, no? And how we could take advantage of an existing part number and try to avoid to develop a new one. So what does it mean? It means that you can produce a new machine with a minimal number of new part numbers, using most of them carryover components, no? And this AI, what they does, no? When the mechanical engineer is projecting the machine, or electrical engineer, or the suspension, hydraulic, and so on, before to create something, they ask this system, oh, I need something like that for this operation, for this input, this output, these are the technical information, and the system goes to the data and connect possible components and give you, this is 100% what you asked for, this is 98% of what you asked for, this is 95% of what you asked for, and this is amazing. It's amazing how they can save, how the system can save time and money. Because if you don't need to develop a new supplier, you don't need to a new component, you don't need to invest in a new tool, you don't need to validate a new PPAP, you don't need to test this component. You have the sure that the component works, and you have already the history about the application of that component. The component works, so you can reduce 50, 60, 70% of the cost of the new project, and you keep adding value for the customer, because for that specific point that you would like to improve, we are going to deliver, and that is going to be made by few components and not the full machine. And just doing that, using artificial intelligence, we can save a lot. Just this is a real example that they're using now that we could extend. We really could take this system and using for other companies, because I'm sure, and any company that I work for, even the big ones, passenger car, General Motors, Volkswagen, and so on, we have this problem of complexity, because it's so deep for the engineering. Try to use an existing component in the new machine, a new car, and so on. This is one example. The other example is when we talk about employee, who normally are the best buyers in the company, are the ones that has more analytics, are the ones that analyze more data, are the ones that know more about your business. And as you said, if you take this knowledge and you put it in a closed EI for the organization, when the most experienced buyer input all the information or feed the system with all the information, the youngest goes there and take all this information already. Yep. And this is we are going to grow the seniority of our employees so fast. You are going to make possible to this new employee to be very efficient in a very short period of time. And this is something that everybody is looking for, because it takes time to train a person, takes time to a person understand how the machine, how the process to produce the components and so on. Take time for the buyer to really understand about the cost breakdown of the component and so on. So AI can help a lot and can save a lot of time. And this we don't have yet, but it's clear in our roadmap how to arrive there. How we're going to build that to make sure that we are going to have an AI that we keep improving the way how we do, and we keep improving the information that we have to build the best strategies, to work together our supplier base to do the best strategies, to add value for the customer with a minimum cost and minimal risk as well.
Absolutely. Such an important point. In interest of time, I'd like to pose one final question to you, and then we'll wrap up. What excites you the most about the future of procurement, purchasing, and how generative AI and AI will definitely change how things are being done in the next 5 years?
What's challenging the most is really collaboration. And the collaboration means that we are going to get the best for each part of the puzzle. So we feel we have the competitiveness that, for example, in China, we still have a really, really good process and machines there, how we can take advantage of that. if we have the raw material that is produced for a different country, how you take advantage of that. If you have the customers that are focused, that are going to produce more and more in one region, how are you going to connect that? So I think what excites me the most is how you take the best for each region, and it's kind of a win-win globally. Like nowadays, there are lots of companies that are migrate part of the labor force, goes to low-cost countries like India or South Asia, no, for example. And this, for me, it's a challenge because of we need to understand the culture and so on. But it's a really opportunity because we can equalize better the world. And in the future, I'm sure that the difference between Europe, United States, and other countries is going to reduce and reduce and reduce. And we're going to give more and more opportunity for all the regions together. What's important for us is really not to have an opportunistic opportunistic because it's a moment that is better to buy from that location, to grow together in a sustainable strategy, to buy from some company or to buy from some region, to buy some country. So I think this in the future, and the future is becoming faster and faster, it's really important to think, okay, what makes more sense? How we can leverage the strongest point for each region, for each country, for each company, and then working together, now in a team, bring all this value together, and be faster in the market, be available in the market for good quality and good cost. I think this is the big challenge, and this is excites me the most, and this is something that I cannot sleep well because I'm thinking how to improve that, how to go to the next step, and how to put all this information together and build the right strategy.
That's awesome.
In a sustainable way.
Yes, that's so crucial and so exciting to hear about your passion that's keeping you up at night. This has been a very engaging and exciting conversation. Carlo, thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks, Srija.